Hey guys, Mix here, and today we are back with the RM125, and as you guys know from last video, this thing is running, and it is running mint. But we did run into a couple problems last video with the carburetor leaking and the transmission not being able to find neutral or just really shift at all. So I do have good news about one of those. It's with the carburetor. So after I ended recording yesterday's video, I called them up and I was like, listen, this thing's still leaking out of this hole right here. And they're like, all right, no problem, bring it in. So I did bring it in, and they said that it was the needle because they ordered an aftermarket one and it wasn't like an OEM actual one, because the actual OEM one needs to come from California, and they said it's gonna take about a week. So I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna wait another week. So I'm like, I know a lot of you guys said that to adjust the float level, so I told them to do that, and they're like, you know what, let's try it out. Boom, it is fixed. So I come home and I put it in, and it is fixed like I just said, but it won't start. So I'm kicking this thing over and over again, nothing at all. So I'm like, all right, what am I gonna do? Figured it had to be the carburetor because it ran mint before I took it off, so it had to be something with the carburetor. So I took off the spark plug and I poured just a little bit of fuel down there, threw it back on, and it started right up. So I knew it was something with the fuel. So today, before recording this video, I was like, maybe they adjusted it a little bit too tightly, the float, and there's not enough fuel getting into the carburetor. But I was like, you know what, let me just try and hit it with the hammer a couple times again. So I just kept whacking it with the hammer, and I heard the float inside starting to move because you could hear like the little noise it makes. Also, I apologize if you guys hear construction. Right over that fence, there's a bunch of stuff going on. So once I hit it with the screwdriver a couple times, I put some fuel in it, and it fired right up. So now it's just been starting right up every time. So I think it was just I think the float was just stuck before. But the whole fuel issue isn't completely done, and this is my mistake. Before, the fuel line was too long, and it was like super long, and it was just like wasn't fitting right because of the length. So I did cut it, but I cut it literally just 1/4 of an inch too short. So I need to go out and get a new one. So whenever I want to start it, I just got to hold it up manually and then just fill up the carburetor, and then if I want to start it just for a little bit, I just start it up quick and then just refill it while it's idling. But today we're going to be trying to address our whole issue with our shifting. So I read the comments, and a lot of you guys were saying that it is almost impossible to find neutral without the chain on. And I do have my chain, and we are going to be putting it on today. As you can tell, the chain is not in, it's not in the greatest shape. I mean, I did just loop it up a little bit to try and get it a little bit looser, but we are just gonna throw it on. I'm probably just gonna get a whole new chain, but this is just for testing purposes to see if this and see if I need to go back into the engine and check out the whole shifting mechanisms. But as you can tell right now, see, it's in first gear or any other gear that's not neutral. When I shift it, it like gets stuck and stuff. So like if I go up one, now it's in like, I don't know what it is in now, but like now it's like stuck. Even if I try and push it and then push it up, it's stuck again. So it is kind of weird, but if I were to tap it, it'll go right back down. So I don't know, it's pretty weird. Maybe with the chain on, we could try and figure this out, and maybe we could try and figure out if I can't get it into neutral to see what gear it is stuck in, and then maybe we can work around that from there. It would be nice to see if we could get this thing driving in this video. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I guess we're throwing the chain now, and hopefully we can find neutral and go through the gears in this. The master link is on, and now what I'm going to try and do is sit on the bike and see if I can just rock it back and forth and find that neutral. Or what I might try and do is start it up on the stand and then see how much the tire spins. But I mean, if it starts spinning like crazy, I'm just going to turn it off because this chain is pretty dang sketchy. I don't know how it's going to react when it, spins for the first time in a while and when it's all rusted like that. But we'll just see what happens. Hopefully we find it. No way, I think we just found it. Let's see if it moves. No, we found it already, no way. Thanks guys for this, for the help. I think we found it, let me just double check. So what I'm gonna do is start it. I'm gonna start it on the stand, just in case it decides to run away. That would suck. I mean, the shifter is all like weird looking. I don't know, we'll just see what happens. This is all for testing purposes. It's got to be done. Actually, before we started up, I actually just found this little tiny piece of hose. And what I'm going to try and do is lodge it up in the original one and then see if I could expand the opening so it could fit on the carb. If it does, that would be mint. Then we could throw it on the bike so I don't have to keep walking back and forth and refilling it while holding the gas tank. So, I don't know. I'm going to try and throw this in here and try and get her to work. So the little hose didn't work. So I'm just going to keep it for now and probably just get a bigger same size hose later on. But I did just fill up the carburetor. Let's just try and start this up. All right, so let's try this out. I'm gonna have my hand ready for the kill switch, just in case. Oh yeah, the back tire's turning. Yep, it went back in gear. So I can't find neutral on it, but you know what? Let's just see what happens. I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's up on the stand. Let's just see what happens. But I am still gonna have my hand ready for the kill switch. So now it doesn't want to start with the chain on while it's in gear. Might just be too much, I guess, momentum behind it, and it can't really start with it on. So guys, it is like an hour later. It was getting way too hot outside. I was working way too hard pushing this thing around because I was trying to find neutral on it for a little while. But I just came back out, did a quick outfit change to a nice cool Moto Mix shirt, which will be coming out soon. So it's pretty sweet. This one's a little big on me, so it might look a little bit funny. Along with some other merch will be dropping soon, so stay tuned for that. But I just finally got this thing fired up with the chain on, and check this out. So I did in fact finally find neutral, so that is awesome. And we know that it's there. I don't think the clutch is like really even working. It might just be because it was sitting for a while. If you guys remember my blue 200cc dirt bike, you guys remember, if you guys watched the build series, that when I first got it running, the clutch didn't work at all. It had to be ran and just kind of fought through the clutch in a way. Like you had to like drive it around without using the clutch, kind of. Well, you still used the clutch, but it didn't work, but you guys probably get what I mean. So I might try that. I've never ridden a two-stroke before, so I understand, you know, that they have a huge power band, obviously, so I might just try and take it slow. Still not perfect with the gearing, but it just might need to be driven, but I might try it out. So I tried to, try and use the clutch a little bit on the stands. It might not work as well because obviously, it's not on ground pushing anything. I might try and this is a little sketchy, but I might try and start it up on the stand while it's in neutral, take down the stands and kind of like have a position like towards the fence or something heavy like the shed. If it decides to like click in the gear and the clutch doesn't work or anything, I'll just do like a burnout or something straight into the shed, but it won't like flip away or anything, hopefully. It does have these brand new Michelin tires on there, which might grip the ground so much that it flips over. But let's try this out and hopefully I don't die. No way it's running out of fuel that quick. Alright, it should start up now. Alright, here we go. So that's kind of weird. Sat down on it and it didn't want to go into gear. Meanwhile, it's been stuck in gear, but now it doesn't want to move. So I'm going to try again and I'll catch back with you guys if we get any movement. So guys, as you could tell, it was finally driving. It took forever, but we finally got it driving. It wasn't easy, but yeah, I was able to ride it around with no seat on, so that was super comfortable. But I think the clutch still needs to like break in a little bit. As I said before, I think it's doing the same thing with my 200cc blue dirt bike build. I think it's just doing the same exact thing. If not, I might need to loosen up the clutch a little bit because it's acting like it's slipping. Sometimes it'll go into power, but most times they'll just like rev and just move really slow. So it just seems like the clutch is still engaging a little. So we're definitely gonna have to look into that. I still can't find neutral on it, but I mean, the clutch, I at least push it around the clutch now. And then I also did fix up the fuel line a little bit with a mini fuel line that was just laying in the grass. I still think I'm gonna get a new one because I think it's still a little restrictive because it seems very skinny there. But I was just tuning up the idle a little bit, and now I'm just gonna tune the air-fuel ratio because it does bog sometimes. So we're gonna get this thing running perfect. I just tuned up the RM and it is running very good now. Idling now with the choke open. So I'll turn that off because that thing is super loud. But anyway guys, I'm gonna be ending the video here. We still need to get this thing driving right, but at least we know that it will drive. I mean, even when I first bought it, I never driven it before because it ran awful. If I haven't already, I've thrown a clip now of how it used to sound. So as you can tell, it used to sound like a blown up weed whacker. But we're definitely gonna be doing some maintenance with it. Another transmission oil change, just to make sure everything is nice and clean in there, along with putting on a new chain because the other one actually just fell off. I mean, it doesn't even matter. This thing is awful. We just had to use it today for testing purposes, but I'm pretty happy that she is running. Probably need to tune up that clutch a little bit too, because it just seems like it's slipping. But anyway guys, be on the lookout for some merch coming soon. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and everything with the channel.